Sometimes the path to becoming the biggest stars in the world involves stumbling into the wrong bedroom while intoxicated. From fights that got out of hand to tragic accidents, these 90s stars spent some serious time behind bars. In 1994, Tim Allen was on top of the world, with the #1 movie at the box office, the #1 show on TV, and the best-selling book in the United States. But 10 years before Home Improvement debuted in 1991, Allen was being released from the Federal Correctional Institution in Sandstone, Minnesota. Back in 1978, he placed more than 650 grams of cocaine in his bags when he tried to travel through Michigan's Kalamazoo-Battle Creek International Airport. He was facing the possibility of life in prison, but he negotiated a deal in which he revealed the names of his superiors. In return, he agreed to plead guilty and received a sentence of 3 to 7 years, although he ultimately got out after 2 years and 4 months. In 1990, Amy Locane broke out in a big way as an innocent teenager who falls in love with a sensitive motorcycle gang leader and John Waters' campy spoof Crybaby. She followed that up with the college drama School Ties, although she's probably best known for playing Sandy Harleen on the first season of the primetime soap opera Melrose Place. A couple of decades later, though, she was in the headlines for much scarier reasons. While driving her SUV one night in June 2010 in Montgomery, New Jersey, Locane struck the back of one vehicle and then hit another car turning into a driveway. The driver of the second car, Fred Seaman, was seriously hurt, while his wife Helene died from injuries sustained in the crash. Locane's blood alcohol level had been 3 times the legal driving limit at the time of the accident. She was convicted of vehicular homicide in 2012 and sentenced to 3 years in prison. She was paroled early in 2015, but then she was sent back to prison from 2020 to 2024 after the local prosecutor reviewed the case and ruled that the first sentence had been too lenient. With smirking charisma and abundant confidence, Christian Slater was an undeniable screen presence when he broke onto the scene in the late 80s and early 90s. But off-screen, he got into trouble in ways that young people often do. In 1988, Slater was arrested for impaired driving, and when he was stopped again the following year for the same thing, he sped away. When police caught up to him in an alley, he allegedly kicked one of the officers. After pleading no contest to charges of evading arrest and drunk driving, his jail sentence was knocked down to 10 days. Then, in 1997, Slater consumed so much tequila and cocaine at a party in Los Angeles that he punched someone, bit someone else, kicked a building custodian, and attacked a police officer who was called to the scene. He ended up spending 59 days behind bars following that evening. A seasoned theatrical actor with multiple Tony nominations to his name, Charles S. Dutton made the move to TV in 1991 as garbage collector Rock Emerson on the Fox dramedy Rock. That show ran for 3 acclaimed seasons, while Dutton also appeared on the big screen in the likes of Alien 3, Rudy, and Menace to Society. Back in 1972, Dutton was behind bars when he discovered his passion for acting after a friend gave him a script for Douglas Turner Ward's play Day of Absence. He put on the play with other inmates at the Maryland State Penitentiary. His term there began in 1967 with an 18-month sentence for manslaughter. After being stabbed 7 times, he used the same knife to kill his assailant. Weapon possession and assault of a prison guard added an additional 11 years to his sentence. He was paroled around 1977.
You have a sentence that says you can make parole. You have to somehow try to better yourself.
Lori Loughlin found her signature role in 1988 when she started playing Rebecca Donaldson on Full House. She continued to play Aunt Becky until the show's finale in 1995, and then continued to work steadily in TV, particularly on the Hallmark Channel. But then, in 2019, she got herself into a bit of legal trouble. Operation Varsity Blues was a years-long investigation by the Department of Justice into fixers who helped rich clients get their children accepted into prestigious universities. One of the most famous names among those implicated was Loughlin. With the assistance of her husband, Massimo Giannulli, they spent $500,000 to get their daughters into the University of Southern California, which included falsifying proof that they were top crew team athletes. After pleading guilty to conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud, Loughlin served a 2-month prison sentence at the Federal Correctional Institution in Dublin, California. In 1991, hip-hop group Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch scored a #1 hit with Good Vibrations. Frontman Mark Wahlberg also served as a Calvin Klein underwear model, but then he ultimately focused his attention to acting. By the decade's end, he was a serious A-lister, starring in movies like Fear, Boogie Nights, and 3 Kings. But before all that, there was a very dark moment in his past. On the evening of April 8, 1988, a Vietnamese man named Ton Lam parked his car outside his home in the Boston neighborhood of Dorchester. As he walked up to his house, a 17-year-old Wahlberg yelled racial slurs and hit Lam in the head with a stick until it broke and Lam lost consciousness. That same day, Wahlberg punched another Vietnamese resident named Hoa Trinh in the eye. After pleading guilty to felony assault, Wahlberg was sentenced to 3 months in jail, though he served only 45 days.
The day I woke up in prison, I had to say, you know what? Do I want to continue to be a follower, or do I want to change my life and become a leader? and that's what I decided to do.
In 1987, Kelsey Grammer was arrested for driving while intoxicated in the Los Angeles area. He then arranged a plea bargain in which he admitted his guilt and entered an alcohol rehab program. But nearly 3 years went by and he didn't fulfill his promise, so a California judge sentenced him to a month in jail and 10 days of community service. On the same day he learned that news, he was also sentenced to 90 days of house arrest in a different case involving cocaine possession. The late Dustin Diamond, who died from cancer in 2021 at age 44, was best known as mega nerd Samuel Screech Powers on Saved by the Bell and its various spin-offs. His life off-screen certainly wasn't without its struggles, including on Christmas night in 2014 when he wound up in the middle of a fight at a bar in Port Washington, Wisconsin. Diamond allegedly escalated the exchange when he used a fold-up knife to stab the man he was arguing with and then ran away. Police caught up with Diamond and his fiancée later that night. In June 2015, the actor was found guilty on misdemeanor counts of carrying a concealed weapon and disorderly conduct. Sentenced to 4 months in prison, he earned parole 3 months into his term, but he was locked up again in May 2016 due to a probation violation.
I want it to be clear that this situation will never be repeated again.
Hip-hop trio Fugees scored a #1 hit album in 1996 with The Score, which sold 5 million copies on the strength of the rapping and singing talents of Lauryn Hill. But they broke up just a couple years later, while Hill went on to record her solo album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which won the Grammy for Album of the Year. But then she never released a follow-up solo album. In 2012, Hill claimed in court that she quit the music industry, likening her contracts to enslavement. That was her stated reason for not paying taxes on the $1.8 million she acquired from 2005 to 2007. She was ultimately sentenced to 3 months in the Federal Correctional Institution in Danbury, Connecticut for her failure to pay taxes.
I think the judge took into account the incredible person that Miss Hill is, the contribution she's made to society.
Hill was released a few days early for exemplary behavior, although she then had 3 months of house arrest. Wesley Snipes was indisputably one of the biggest movie stars of the 1990s. He seemingly couldn't miss with filmgoers in that decade, no matter the genre. But in the decades since, he's perhaps been more famous for his off-screen troubles. In February 2008, a court in Florida ruled that Snipes was guilty of 3 misdemeanor counts of failing to file his tax returns. He was originally accused of felony counts of tax fraud and conspiracy, and he faced a maximum of 16 years in prison. The case began when Snipes was accused of neglecting to pay his taxes from 1999 to 2004. Sentenced to 3 years, he served his time at the Federal Correctional Institution McKean in Pennsylvania beginning in December 2010.
In your opinion, you paid what you think was owed?
Oh yes, Larry.
Snipes was released early in April 2013, followed by 3 months of house arrest. The rap world wouldn't be the same without Lil Kim, undoubtedly one of the biggest female hip-hop stars of all time. Her 1996 debut album Hardcore generated big hits like Crush on You, Not Tonight, and No Time. But 5 years later, she got herself into quite a bit of trouble. One day in 2001, Kim arrived at the New York rap radio station Hot 97 along with a friend and her manager. When they ran into the rap duo Capone and Noriega, a member of Kim's entourage confronted them about their song Bang Bang, which contained an insult directed at Kim from Foxy Brown. The exchange grew heated and guns were fired. When testifying to a grand jury about the incident, Kim denied that her associates had been present, despite security camera footage and witnesses indicating otherwise. Seeking to protect her team, Kim was ultimately convicted in March 2005 on 3 charges of perjury and 1 charge of conspiracy. She received a prison sentence of 1 year and 1 day, of which she served around 10 months. Ever since he became Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. has been one of the highest-paid movie stars of all time. But back in the 90s, he was building up quite the diverse and impressive resume. His hits from that time include Air America, Natural Born Killers, and Chaplin, for which he received his first Oscar nomination. But this decade was also marked by some legal trouble. In June 1996, police in Malibu, California stopped Downey for erratic driving. They then found heroin, cocaine, crack cocaine, and a concealed weapon in his car. Hours after his first hearing for that case a few weeks later, he was detained again for trespassing and heroin intoxication after he was found sleeping in a neighbor's bedroom.
It was actually 2 doors down from my own house, but yeah, anyway.
Downey was sentenced to rehab, but after sneaking out, he was sent to the Los Angeles County Men's Central Jail for 9 days. He was released on probation under the condition that he would be subject to occasional drug testing, but he didn't turn in the tests and then spent 113 days in the Los Angeles County Jail. Paroled before the end of his sentence, he was supposed to submit drug tests, and after he again failed to do so, he ended up at the California Substance Abuse Treatment Facility and State Prison from late 1999 to August 2000. If you or anyone you know needs help with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's national helpline at 1-800-662-HELP 4357.